Well, hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. Now, recently I got a couple of Casio ProTrek watches that each had the titanium bracelet. And I've adjusted bracelets before to take out links and, to make them the right size for me. But this was a little bit more tricky, and I thought I should show people how to do this so they don't run into trouble. I want them to do this right. If you're adjusting the bracelet all by yourself, do it at home, please watch this video, and I hope this will help you to avoid any trouble. Well, congratulations. You've got yourself a brand new Casio watch with one of these nice fancy titanium bracelets. The trouble is, when it's brand new, it's probably too big for you. So you're going to have to remove a link or two to make it the right size. And with this titanium, well, it's a little bit tricky. So let me show you something you can do so you don't run into trouble. I'll open this up here, and on the inside you can see little arrows here indicating there are some pins that you need to push out in order to remove links. And if you got any kind of special tools, this would be helpful here. You push into that hole right there, and you just got to push that pin all the way through. Let me see if I can do that here. It's a little bit tricky. But you see, it started to come through the other side. And maybe it's easier to show this other side. So that pin has started to come out. And if I can push that through with this tool, it helps to get that as far out as I can with this tool. And I have to do the link next to it as well. So here I go. Okay, ooh, that was good. Pushed it way out. Okay, now, this is where you got to be very careful because, see, this is titanium, and titanium, well known for its hardness, right? So they had to put an extra piece inside here to be a little bit more flexible than the titanium link itself. If I now pull this out here, okay, now that's loose here, and right now inside of here, there's a little sleeve that's not titanium. It's right in there. Can you see that? And if I'm not too careful, it's going to fall right out. See? And if I lose that, it's going to be very hard to make that pin go back in the right way. So this, you just got to be very careful as you're working with this that you don't let that piece drop out onto the floor or, get lost on your tabletop, in the carpet, whatever. That's a tiny, tiny, tiny. So be careful working with that. Okay, so there's another one of those in this other link. I'm going to turn this around. And let's see, this pin didn't come out quite as far. So I'm going to use these little pliers here to pull this through. And I'm going to be careful here because I don't want to scratch up my brand new titanium watch bracelet. Okay, and so it's kind of rough there pulling that one out, but you noticed I carefully held the links together as I was pulling there, because once again, in this link here, there's going to be that little metal sleeve that I don't want to lose. Now, if I wanted to use this link again, I'd have to put that sleeve back in, and it only goes in on the one side. See, this hole's not quite as big as that hole over there. And so if that link were just sitting on my hand there, maybe I could take something like this little tool here, or just maybe just a pin, a very thin pin for sewing or something. See how I kind of get that up on there? And then if I push this into this hole in the link and allow that sleeve to just fall back into place and then carefully remove it. See, so that sleeve is still in there. Again, I don't want to lose that sleeve, because that sleeve is what allows this pin to kind of lock itself in place. Okay, so if that sleeve were not there, then this pin would just freely move back and forth, and the watch bracelet would fall apart again because the links would come undone. So again, all right, that little piece just fell onto my table here. Oh, there it is right there. So I'm going to pick it up just kind of with my finger. And I'm going to, again, put it onto this little pin there. I'm going to take this out for now because I probably won't lose that as easily on this tabletop. Again, sliding it in there and carefully pulling this out. Okay. All right. So this would be good to go if I wanted to put this link in, but I'm removing links at this point because the watch bracelet was too big. So what I'm going to have to do, now that I've got this all together, all these pieces saved, I think I'm going to take a piece of tape or something and just tape this all together, knowing that everything's in place. And then I'm going to put the whole thing into a little Ziploc bag so that I don't lose any of these pieces if I ever have to come back to this link. But for right now, I want to put this bracelet back together. So again, here's the link that does have the sleeve in there. I'm just going to line these pieces up. And now I have to take this, this other pin that goes in there and insert it back into this hole. This is on the end opposite of where that arrow was. And so, you know, gonna put that back together. Now, when I do this, I have to kind of align these pieces so that that pin can go straight back in to the hole on this other side. So it's a little bit tricky, and I think I'm just going to hold this with this these pliers here just to help myself kind of push that in. So I'm going to start to see some resistance here. Oh, but I'm pretty close. Okay. I think I've made it. So, okay, it's not quite into this outer part of the link, so I'm going to have to kind of fiddle around with that as I'm pushing here and also try and show it to the camera. So I'm going to just try and line those up as well as I can while I'm pushing and see how well I can get those into correct alignment as I push that pin all the way. The rest of the way in. Oh, and look, it worked. It actually worked. Okay, so it's sticking out just a little bit there. Maybe I can coax that in a little farther with, you know, some of these small tools that I have here. I've just kind of pushed the end of that pin so it's more flush with this side. And okay, that looks pretty good now. I've taken off that link. Let me put this on my wrist and see how close I am now to having the right fit on here. Okay. You know, okay, that's pretty good. For me, just taking out one link seems to have done the trick. But I still have a little bit of fine-tuning available on this bracelet. Right here, you can see there are 3 holes on either side of this clasp, and if I wanted to, there's just a spring bar in there. I could kind of poke this down in and loosen that, and then I could kind of slide that down to another one of these holes on each side, you know, and reposition that right there for some fine tuning. But I'm going to put it back out for now because I think that was a pretty good fit when I just tried that on a moment ago. Yes, I think I really like that. Now, if you're a little nervous about performing this procedure on your own, you know, you can take it to a jeweler at the mall and they'll probably be able to do it. You might want to warn them about that tiny piece inside the, you know, that little sleeve inside there, just in case. Your jeweler isn't quite as experienced with that. But, you know, with any luck, they'll be working in a place where if a small piece like that falls out, they will be able to retrieve it. Okay. Now, if you do think you want to try this on your own, you know, it doesn't cost that much to get some little watch tools like this. You can find them online, maybe $20 for a set like this, plus, you know, some screwdrivers and some other pieces. It's kind of nice to work with your watch band in little blocks like this because they're made of plastic, so they're less likely to scratch up the bracelets when you're working with it. This one, I could have removed that pin using this, and that might have been easier to do. Let me just show you how that would have worked if I had used this device to get that pin out. What I would do is look for that arrow to show me that the pin pushes out in that direction, and then I would just kind of set this down here in this little channel, right? And so here's a little pin that comes down from here, and you can screw that in there so you get kind of precise control. If I were to line that up just right with the hole there, and looks like I got it, and then I just gently twist this, see? Twist it like this, and I can control that. Then you see over here on the other side, it's starting to push that pin through in that channel right there, that's made to do that. So that was kind of an easy and precise way to push that pin out to the point where from here, I could just grab it with these pliers and pull it the rest of the way out. Okay, so a simple little tool like this that you can get online for pretty cheap if you think you're going to be doing this a lot. The main thing to remember here is that whatever I'm trying to do with this, it's a little bit trickier than I expected it to be. Even though I've already done this off camera and kind of practiced here, it's still just a little bit trickier than I want it to be. I'm going to make sure these pins that I've been fiddling with are pushed in so that they're kind of evenly spaced and you don't have just a little bit sticking out on either end. So if I just give that a little push. Okay, feels good on both sides. And I'm done. Whew, okay, and there you go. And again, congratulations on a nice looking watch. And congratulations that you got that bracelet sized exactly like you wanted it. So there you go. Of course, whenever you're working with these small things, I want you to have a nice clean area where if things do fall, they don't get lost, and they don't get stuck in the bottom of the shag carpet, or you're doing this outside on the grass or something. Please have a nice workspace, and I hope that I've given you just enough to set you straight so that you won't have any trouble adjusting your titanium watch bracelet. All right, thank you for watching, and I've got more ideas for more episodes coming up, so please stay tuned for the Good Timekeeping Show.